You are witnessing the first few strokes of a months-long process. My sister's having a baby, and my mom is turning a room in the house into an Alice in Wonderland themed playroom, naturally. And that's where I come in, like, oh, shikakak, art. Did somebody mention art? No, Sid. No one mentioned art, but if you want to do it so bad, then go ahead. And that's what I'm doing. So here I am with you now, painting this 6-foot-long piece of wood. You'll notice that this is a part 1 video. Yeah, that's because this is a 6-foot-long piece of wood. I'm using acrylic paint, blood, sweat, and tears. No primer, no base coat, just hopes and dreams. And if you haven't noticed by now, this first scene is Alice falling down the rabbit hole. And to the right, you can see Tweedledee or Dum, not sure which is which, peeking over at her from the next scene. I split up this wood into a bunch of square scenes, but I wanted them to blend together naturally and have a smooth transition. So the transition between this one and the next one is this grandfather clock. And yes, it's in chronological order. I couldn't live with myself if I didn't do it that way. So this piece of wood tells the story of the movie, the Disney version, from left to right. And I did go on Disney Plus to make sure everything was biblically accurate. However, for some of these scenes, I combined a couple different screenshots together to make what I think would be more aesthetically pleasing for the painting. And that is absolutely no shade toward the artists who worked on Alice in Wonderland, because that is a masterpiece. There is no painting that I could do that could ever live up to any screenshot from that movie. But like, for example, you'll see later on that when Alice gets stuck inside of the White Rabbit's house when she's gigantic, I screenshotted one part where the window was closed for her face because I liked the angle of the house. But then I actually just opened the windows for her face and used a different screenshot as my reference for that. So I could have the best of both worlds, of the best angle of the house and the best angle of her face. This first scene is pretty much exact to how the screenshot I got from the movie is. Not painting-wise, but element-wise, how we have this chair down here next to the chimney, and then we got the cobblestone background with the blue crisscross wallpaper above it. I grew up watching 2D animated movies from Disney like Alice in Wonderland and Cinderella, and The Little Mermaid was one of my favorites. And I've also always made art ever since I was little. I've just always been drawing and painting. But I never really truly appreciated Disney movies for the art of it until recently. And even still, while I'm watching a movie, I can't really get into the details because things are moving so quickly. But with this, I've screenshotted one scene and spent hours sometimes getting it done, and being able to really get into the nitty-gritty of it was really satisfying. Like with a lot of animated things, I noticed that the backgrounds were so detailed, they looked like paintings that could stand on their own, which I know Walt was very proud of when they made Sleeping Beauty. But the things that would move around, like the characters, would be more simple, so they were easier to animate. For example, actually, this is one thing that I changed about this scene, is that the cover of the book, I'm pretty sure was blank in the movie, but I added the words Alice in Wonderland to the cover because why wouldn't I? I also added a hidden Mickey in each scene, so let me know if you can find the hidden Mickey in each section of this painting. Another thing I added a lot of were mistakes, like here, where I painted the words before the background and then I had to go in and do the words again over the background. And also, I got to address what's wrong with her face. It does not look exactly like Alice from the side. I am not great with side profiles. I'm not even great with faces in general. I don't normally paint humans. I typically go for a plant or animal sort of situation, but I did my best. And yes, her face is a little off. Okay, we're avoiding copyright here, or at least that's my excuse. Disney, don't sue me, please. Please don't sue me for this. Can they sue me for this? I guess if they can sue someone for using Spider-Man on a gravestone, then the sky's the limit, but Disney, please don't get me. I love your theme parks. It is like my dream job to paint for Disney's theme parks, and it kills me when I'm there and I notice paint jobs where like the paint is dripping and they just let it dry like that, and it's been that way for months. Please, I will fix it for free. Let me get in there. I could make an entire video on it. I could tell you right now, the doors going into Country Bear Jamboree, there's dripping paint. In the queue for Peter Pan, right when you're about to load, look up at the trees, up at the ceiling, dripping paint. Space Mountain queue in the hallway, pink and blue, dripping. And don't get me started on the color match they did when they patched up the holes on the fort thing, when they changed the shooting arcade to the DVC lounge. Please don't get me started. I say these things out of love and respect for the parks because I feel that Disney has always been held to such a high standard, and I want to see them hold themselves to that standard like we do for them. But anyway, this is the first scene complete. Disney World rant is also complete. Let's move on to Mr. Dee Dum, shall we? Fun fact, actually, my friend and I dressed up as Dee Dum for Halloween one year in high school, and when people would ask who's dumb, we would both point at each other and say, her. Have you ever dressed up as an Alice in Wonderland character? And also, who's your favorite character from the movie? I know that's a hard one to answer for me personally. I don't think I could pick just one. But if we're talking like walk around characters in the parks, it's gotta be the Mad Hatter, by far. In the movie, I also really love the caterpillar. Speaking of which, my mom got this giant mushroom and then sculpted the caterpillar to go under it for the playroom. She has been crafting like crazy for this room. She turned this insane lamp into something even more insane. You can see Alice going down the rabbit hole at the bottom there. She customized all of this stuff for the top of the bookshelves. She put Funko Pops in this tree, which is so baller of her. Like, what? And then in the bookshelves, she's got some books. These are actually a planter, which is really cool. And then this giant Funko Pop. Some of the bookshelves have this backdrop where she can put pins in it. And this is her Alice in Wonderland pin collection that she's starting up. Looking good. My man, she made the white rabbit. And she also made these talking flowers, which are my favorite thing she's made, along with the caterpillar. Alright, now let's lock in on Dee Dum here. I took it step by step and did like both of their collars at the same time and then both of their bow ties at the same time to make sure that I got the shapes down pat. I wanted them to look as exact as possible to each other, but at the same time, when I was sketching, I noticed some key differences between the two. Like you can see right now, the one on the left has a pointier bow tie. Their pant legs at the bottom are different. You can see all the way around them on the guy on the right. I also made a mistake. But like I say, it's Wonderland, so you know, it's okay. But you let me know if you even notice it. That's what's fun about it. Because I didn't even notice when I was watching this back until like the second or third time I went through while I was editing. Oh, also another thing that's different about them is the flag on the top of their hat is different. Could just be the way that they're flapping at different timings, but yeah. And their faces were a little bit different, but it could just be the angles and the way that they're talking. I don't know. But they both came from the same screenshot, and I'm pretty sure this is when they're like being sassy to Alice or something. I don't know, it's what it looks like at least. If you didn't know who I was painting right now in this shot, you would think that I'm doing Humpty Dumpty Girl. Look at that. This was one of those scenes where the background is super detailed, looks like an actual painting, but I did not take it that far. I did do a little bit of details for the wood and followed their lead with the bushes and stuff. I also noticed these spiky flowers pop up a lot throughout the movie. They really did not want any solid colors for a big surface area. They also didn't like too many parallel straight lines like in the grandfather clock to the left of this or the sidewalk to the right. The stripes must be crooked and the backdrops must not be plain. Although the original background from Dee Dum when they're in this position was a little bit plain, so that's why I changed it to be these trees, which is from the same scene, just not that part of it. Alright, now we are finally moving on to the White Rabbit's house. This is such an iconic scene. This purple ground is the most solid, plain surface area that you will see in the painting, but it still has some broken pieces of the house scattered about. I did lose a little bit of footage from this part, so when you see the trees randomly fill in a bunch, yeah, right there, that's why. These trees are funky. They got some kind of blueberries on them. I like it. I actually love it even, but what do you think those are? Is there even like real fruits in Wonderland? There's little sweets and tarts. There's tea. What other foods are there? I guess the flowers are edible, some of them at least. Not the talking ones. Don't eat the talking flowers. Here comes another teeny tiny thing that I had to paint. This is even smaller than the Alice in Wonderland book cover that I did in the first scene, and it is this stopwatch. Is that what it's called? Pocket watch. It could be a stop. It could stop. But anyway, I decided to put the freaking numbers on it, which I'm pretty sure it was like that in the movie, or I would have gladly skipped out on it. Right? Yeah, that's crazy. I just checked my reference, and they did. They animated every number on the pocket stopwatch. It was hard to get an official picture of the White Rabbit on Google Images. And also, by the way, Disney Plus does not let you screenshot. So yeah, I only used it for like looking at the chronological order of things and like fact checking, like if Google Images had two different versions of an outfit or something. Because there's like a lot of fan art on there and stuff, which is what I'm making, and like I changed little details on accident and stuff, so I wanted to be sure of what I'm doing. But yeah, here's my fingernail for comparison. It was super tiny, but that's some of my favorite things to paint, and it doesn't take that long to paint, which is awesome. My mom wants me to go to nail school and start painting teeny tiny little paintings on nails. And honestly, it's not a bad idea. I think I might lean towards that. Because I absolutely love painting, but it's just so time consuming, especially the way that I do it, where I just obsess over every little detail, where it doesn't even really matter that much in the long run. But on a fingernail, girl, every little detail counts. You gotta be wise with your strokes. That is not what she said. Anyway, I have more paintings that I'm currently working on and that I want to work on in the future, especially for some videos on YouTube. If you'd be interested, let me know. My sister's nursery is going to be Little Mermaid themed, so I'm working on a Little Mermaid painting right now. It's got pretty much all the characters in it, and it's got Prince Eric's castle and Atlantica, or whatever they did to avoid saying Atlantis. And yes, it's the Penis Castle version, because that's the OG, okay? It's got to be biblically accurate to what I remember from my childhood. They can't just go up and change and taking pieces of the castle away, where someone lived in that tower, bruh. But anyway, it's so freaking small, you can't even tell. And that's what she said. I just completed some fan art for hot dogs on the People Mover / hot dogs at Disney. It's a double-sided painting, and I'm going to give it to him if he does a meetup for People Mover anniversary. And a future painting I want to work on, literally, is what I want the future to be, which is a grass tunnel of sorts over the road, which animals can pass over us. I think this actually exists somewhere, but we need more of it, and I'm going to do some like concept art type shit. And I also am gonna, we're gonna work it out on the remix. You're gonna find out if I make a video of me painting this, but I'm not gonna take it that serious. It hurts me to say that because I am such a perfectionist with my paintings, but I'm gonna finally try to let loose. I said let loose, holding it together, you got no excuse. I'm gonna finally try to let my paintings look like a painting and be sketchy and a little messy, and it's because that's a concept art, am I right? It doesn't have to be perfect. It's a concept of a plan. So yeah, I don't know, keep your eye out for that, I guess. Something I already filmed, it's a different art medium, Club Penguin Igloos. I went through and I rated all of my Club Penguin igloos. I also went through all of my old Dress to Impress outfits and gave them a rating, but they were bad. How did we get here? How did I start talking about this? I'm so sorry. Let me tell you what about Alice in Wonderland. So Disney World doesn't usually have that many walk-around characters because it's pretty crowded. I don't know. I actually don't know why they don't do it. Maybe it's too hot and stuff also. It is. But, okay. They especially do not have walk-around characters for Alice in Wonderland people like they do at Disneyland. You'll see people just going up to the Mad Hatter and Alice who are walking around having fun. Well, for some reason, for this summer, they're having special characters out at Disney World. And when I was there with my boyfriend, we seen Alice and the Mad Hatter just standing outside the Teacups ride, doing meet and greets. It's so exciting to see them putting some love back into the parks. I feel terrible for these people that they have to go out and do meet and greets in the heat. I don't know what their reasoning behind them doing it in the summer versus winter is, but I'm not complaining. We also saw Chip and Dale just wandering around Tomorrowland. I don't know why it was them, but I'm also not complaining about that. Although I have seen them in their future outfits, and it's so cute. I wish they were wearing those. We typically have the country bears strolling around Frontierland, so that's a usual occurrence. On Main Street, Mary Poppins and the dude and the penguin, they were all there. I could not believe it. I've never seen any characters on Main Street. It was legendary. I can't think of anybody in Adventureland that we saw. Sometimes Jack Sparrow will be there, but we did not see him in the last couple weekends. We did see Flynn Rider walking through Fantasyland though, near the carousel, which was pretty cool. I've never seen him before. I didn't see Rapunzel anywhere, but I'm sure she was strolling around too if he was out. It was a little sad though, because nobody was walking up to Flynn Rider. Like, hello, it's the Flynn Rider. Maybe they just thought he was some dude that was Disney bounding, because honestly, Jaden wears shit like that. He'd be wearing his cowboy vests and his Tom Sawyer shirts and, well, we don't gotta get into it too much, but someone thought he worked in Frontierland one time because I was away from him in the bathroom. So there's no pink lady holding his hand to make him look like a guest. But a cowboy hat does not a cast member make. And there also does not have to be a reason for a cowboy hat, okay? Or any clothing. Honestly, we get asked if we're dressed up for special occasions all the time. But that's just how we look. Oh, would you look at that? We are nearing the end of the painting. Wow. It's gorgeous. Look at this. This is everything we just did together. All of this. I can't give you an exact answer on how long this took, but I can estimate that it was at least 5 hours of work, and this is how much I have left to do. A little sneak peek at the next parts. We've got the talking flowers, the caterpillar, the Cheshire cat. Those will all be in one video together. Then we got the Mad Tea Party, Alice being sad with the birds, and the Queen of Hearts will all be in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and love.